Only after my husband passed did I discover he'd willed all his assets to his childhood sweetheart. All he left me was a suicide note. Had you not blackmailed me with that life-saving favor, Xiaomin and I would never have been torn apart. She remained unmarried for me all these years. You've no right to resent my leaving her the estate. This is the debt you owe us. He seems to have forgotten how I rescued him from the fire at the cost of severe burns and disfigurement. When he was trapped trying to save his white Moonlight, forgotten too are all these years I've devotedly cared for his fire-related health complications. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the fire, watching Sun Xiaozhong recklessly charge into the flames for love. I turned and walked away. This time, you two star-crossed lovebirds can rot together. 1. Xiaomin, Xiaomin, Sun Xiaozhong screamed outside the factory, his face flushed crimson in the raging inferno's glow. The familiar scene jolted me awake with sudden clarity. I'd been reborn. Sun Xiaozhong suddenly grabbed my shoulders, desperation in his voice. Xiaomin's still inside. What do we do? She'll burn to death. In my past life, I told him, the fire's too intense. There's no saving anyone now. A fellow worker urged Sun Xiaozhong. If you can't bear to watch, go save them now. If not, run. The fire's spreading. I'm out of here. Sun Xiaozhong gave me a long look, furrowed his brow, then doused himself with water from a bucket and charged into the inferno. In the end, my conscience got the better of me. I rushed in and pulled Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min to safety. They suffered severe burns, and my face was disfigured by the flames. After I was discharged from the hospital, I went back to take care of Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. The co-workers all told Sun Xiaozhong, Xiaozhong, if it weren't for Su Hui, you and Lu Min would have died in that fire. You owe Su Hui your lives. Shouldn't you repay her by marrying her? It took over 2 months before Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min were finally discharged. During those 2 months, Sun Xiaozhong thanked me many times, but after leaving the hospital, his first stop was still to see Lu Min. I don't know what they discussed, but after returning from Lu Min's place, Sun Xiaozhong told me, the co-workers were right. Su Hui, you're my savior. I'd devote myself to you, if you'll have me. Let's get married. Back in those days, with my face disfigured, no one would want me. Staying unmarried would only burden my parents, so I accepted Sun Xiaozhong's proposal without hesitation. After we married, Lu Min left. I cared for Sun Xiaozhong throughout our marriage, raised our children together and stayed by his side till his final days. Just as I was about to collapse in tears beside Sun Xiaozhong's body, the lawyer arrived. He said Sun Xiaozhong had left a will bequeathing all his assets to Lu Min, but he did leave me a letter. The letter stated that he only married me out of obligation for past favors, that Lu Min had always held his heart, and that she was the only woman he ever truly loved. Lu Min became so smug after inheriting Sun Xiaozhong's assets that she actually confessed the truth to me. After being discharged from the hospital, Sun Xiaozhong actually proposed to me. But who'd want to be his lifelong caretaker? I turned him down, so he settled for you, a free maid. TSK, Su Hui. What a pitiful life you've led. Those words haunted me for decades. Even with my dying breath, I couldn't let go of my hatred for Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Thankfully, heaven took pity on me and granted me a second chance. In this life, Sun Xiaozhong remained true to his past self, gritting his teeth, dousing himself in water, and charging into the inferno. But this time, I turned and walked away without a single glance back. Let those star-crossed lovers be stuck together forever. 2. The moment I got home and saw my parents, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. What I'm truly grateful for isn't fate giving me a second chance for revenge, but letting me see my parents again. Whenever I'm back with my parents, no matter how old I get, I still feel like a child. My parents just heard about the factory fire and were rushing out when they spotted me. They immediately started checking me over from head to toe. Are you okay? Were you hurt? Why are you crying? Don't scare me like this. Where are you hurt? I wiped away my tears, my voice trembling uncontrollably from emotion. I'm fine, really, not a scratch on me. My parents finally breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you're not hurt, then why are you crying? Did it scare you? I shook my head and hugged them. Mom, Dad, I just missed you so much. It felt like a lifetime had passed before I finally returned to my parents' side. In my previous life when my face was injured, my parents never saw me as a burden and took me everywhere seeking treatment. I was the one who gave up. Though our family was relatively well off in those days, it was nowhere near enough to treat the scars on my face. Even if we spend every last penny, there's no guarantee my face can be cured. So I told my parents I'm giving up treatment, I'm going to marry Xiao Zhong's son instead. My parents objected immediately, though our families have always been close and you two grew up together. He's left with permanent disabilities now. Do you really want to spend your whole life taking care of him? I know my parents worry about me overworking, but I insisted anyway. Turns out I was dead wrong. In this lifetime, with my face still intact, I've returned to my parents' side. Now I just want to stay with my parents, never to be apart again. My parents pushed me away sheepishly. Where did you learn such tricks, you silly child? That afternoon, someone suddenly called out my father's name from outside. Dad returned shortly after stepping out and told me, Xiaozhong's in the hospital, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao want you to go there. Is Xiaozhong badly hurt? Mom asked while putting aside the dish towel. Come on, let's all go together, Mom, Dad. I was actually there that day. I saw Sun Xiaozhong rush into the flames with my own eyes. I need to come clean with my parents. They shouldn't be kept in the dark about this. The fire was already raging, but the woman he liked, Lu Min, who'd just started at our factory, was trapped inside. That's why he went in. My parents immediately caught the unspoken meaning behind my words. If this has nothing to do with you, why are the Suns asking you to come over? Mom pushed Dad out to the yard before turning back to me. Hui, be honest with me. Do you still have feelings for Xiaozhong? I shook my head repeatedly. No, Mom, I don't have any feelings for Sun Xiaozhong anymore. Mom nodded understandingly. All right then, I get it, let's go. When we arrived at the hospital with my parents, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao's eyes were swollen from crying. Sun Xiaozhong has already undergone surgery and is now lying unconscious in the hospital bed. His entire body wrapped in bandages. Aunt Xiao grabbed me with tears streaming down her face, sobbing uncontrollably. Hui, you're finally here. Xiaozhong my mother urgently asked. What exactly happened to Xiaozhong? Is it serious? Aunt Xiao kept weeping until Uncle Sun finally spoke. Xiaozhong suffered extensive burns, including damage to his reproductive organs. He won't be able to father children anymore. A somber mood filled the hospital room. Yet I was the only one struggling to suppress laughter. So this was the ending Sun Xiaozhong truly deserved. 3. Aunt Xiao regained her composure and snapped angrily. It's all that Jinx's fault. Xiaozhong wouldn't be in this state if he hadn't tried saving that cursed woman. The Jinx was, of course, referring to Lu Min. They must have heard that Sun Xiaozhong rushed into the fire to save Lu Min. What about Lu Min? I asked. She's in the next room, Aunt Xiao fumed. Damn it. Xiaozhong ended up like this trying to save her. And what does she get? Just singed hair and some smoke inhalation. Nothing serious at all. I glanced at my parents, who remained silent. Before speaking up, Xiaozhong likes Lu Min. He rushed in to save her because of love. Bullshit love, Uncle Sun cursed. Then suddenly remembered something and asked me suspiciously. Xiaozhong likes that Jinx. Wasn't he with you? Old Sun, watch your words. My father cut him off sternly. Don't spread such nonsense. It's not good for either kid. Aunt Xiao grabbed my hand again, sobbing. Hui, I asked you here hoping you could keep Xiaozhong company. With your factory burned down and no work now, if you're free. She didn't spell it out, but I already knew what she was getting at. Sun Xiaozhong became infertile, since I'm on good terms with him. The couple immediately sent for me after hearing his lower body was severely burned. The intention is all too obvious, truly. The parental heart knows no bounds. My parents clearly understood Aunt Xiao's implication. Just as my father was about to speak, I quickly cut in. Don't worry, Aunt Xiao. As Xiaozhong's closest friend, I'll do everything I can to help. But as Xiaozhong's best friend, I have to say this for him. Please stop blaming Lu Min. Think about it, he wouldn't have rushed into that burning building to save her if he didn't love her with all his heart. Thank goodness Lu Min wasn't seriously hurt. Can you imagine how devastated Xiaozhong would be when he wakes up otherwise? Before Aunt Xiao could respond, I'd already moved to the bedside. After glancing at the still unconscious Sun Xiaozhong, I turned and walked out. I'll go check on Lu Min next door. 4. Lu Min woke up at dusk. I've already sent my parents home. They've got their own things to take care of. Lu Min first broke down upon realizing her hair and eyelashes were completely burned off. Between sobs and coughing fits, the doctor explained her lung damage, which finally made her calm down with great difficulty. Aunt Xiao had no patience for her. You only lost some hair. It'll grow back in no time. What are you crying about? Go see my Xiaozhong. This is all your fault. Look what you've done to him, Auntie. How is Xiaozhong? Lu Min's voice was hoarse and grating, as unpleasant as could be. This was another lingering effect from my past life. My throat had been ruined by smoke inhalation. Go see for yourself. With great effort, Lu Min got out of bed and made her way to Sun Xiaozhong's hospital room. At that very moment, Sun Xiaozhong slowly opened his eyes. Aunt Xiao burst into tears of joy and immediately went to fetch the doctor. After examining Sun Xiaozhong again, the doctor confirmed he was completely out of danger. Aunt Xiao stopped the departing doctor, clutching at her last shred of hope as she pleaded, "Doctor, please, is my son really, is there truly no way?" The doctor glanced at Sun Xiaozhong and nodded grimly, "It's beyond repair now." After the doctor left, Sun Xiaozhong asked hoarsely, "Mom, what's going on? What's wrong with me?" Aunt Xiao couldn't speak. She just kept her head bowed, weeping silently. I answered for Aunt Xiao instead. "The doctors said your lower body was severely burned. You'll never be able to have children, hui hui." Aunt Xiao cut me off sharply, but it was too late. Sun Xiaozhong had already heard everything. These days, few willingly choose to be child-free. Everyone wants kids. The moment Sun Xiaozhong heard he couldn't father children, his entire body might have been wrapped in bandages, but his agitated state was palpable to everyone in the room, amused internally but maintaining a concerned facade. I rushed to calm him. "Xiaozhong, stay composed. Your priority now is recovery, if not for yourself, then do it for Lu Min. Lu Min, come here quickly." I beckoned to her. "Xiaozhong needs you more than anything right now." After all, no one wished more fervently than I for these two to remain irrevocably bound together for life. Lu Min hesitated at this moment. I smirked inwardly before turning to Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao with a smile. "Congratulations, adversity reveals true love. Xiaozhong's misfortune has turned into blessing. Don't let Lu Min's current appearance fool you. Though her hair, lashes and most eyebrows got burned off, they'll all grow back. Having such a beauty as your daughter-in-law, you, Su Hui, stop talking nonsense." Lu Min cut me off impatiently. I blinked innocently at her. "What's wrong, Lu Min? Did I say something incorrect? Aren't you Xiaozhong's girlfriend?" "I'm not," Lu Min murmured under her breath, casting a glance at Sun Xiaozhong. I gasped, "What? You're not Xiaozhong's girlfriend? Everyone at the factory can see how close you two are. It's obvious you're a couple. How could you possibly not be his girlfriend?" "It's just that. Are you ditching Xiaozhong now that he's like this and can't have children?" I moved closer to Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao. "He got this way saving you. How heartless can you be to abandon him now?" "Xiaoman," Sun Xiaozhong called Lu Min softly. Lu Min kept her head down, her face clearly reluctant. "Auntie Xiao." "Uncle Sun, I should head back now." I moved toward the door. "Call me if you need anything, Su Hui," Sun Xiaozhong suddenly called out to me. 5. I turned around. Sun Xiaozhong looked at me, his hoarse voice dropping lower. "When I rushed in to save Xiaoman, where were you?" "What?" Aunt Xiao approached. "Hui Hui, you were outside at that time." I couldn't understand why Sun Xiaozhong was dragging me into this now. Did he realize I'd been speaking deliberately earlier? I quickly composed myself and nodded. "Yes, I was outside. The fire was raging, and I wanted to stop you from going in, but I also knew how much Lu Min meant to you. If I'd held you back and something happened to her, you'd never forgive me." "Su Hui, you were outside." Aunt Xiao burst into tears. "You were right there and didn't stop Xiaozhong. You just watched him charge into that inferno." "Su Hui, he was your closest friend. How could I stop a grown man hellbent on playing the hero?" I retorted sharply. Aunt Xiao's sobbing cut off abruptly. I approached the hospital bed. "Xiaozhong, what's your problem? You blaming me for not stopping you, for letting you end up like this? Tell me honestly, did you really want to save Lu Min or not?" And here I thought Lu Min owed you her life, that she should pledge herself to you, but now I see you're not even. "Of course I wanted to save Min," Sun Xiaozhong rasped, straining his damaged vocal cords. "I love Min. Wow, how romantic." I dragged Lu Min to the bedside. "Lu Min, Xiaozhong just confessed his love for you." Lu Min tried to pull her hand away, so I let go. "All right, this is your family matter. I won't interfere. I'm leaving now. They've gotten what they deserved in this lifetime. Seems they're stuck with each other now, so it's none of my business anymore." 6. When I got home, my parents asked about Sun Xiaozhong, so I told them everything about him and Lu Min. Now my parents truly believe I have no romantic feelings for Sun Xiaozhong. In that case, it's their family matter. Hui Hui, don't be too hard on yourself. This was never your responsibility to begin with. Taking good care of yourself is the greatest filial piety you could show me and your mom." My nose stung, and I nearly burst into tears again. How wonderful, I get to be mom and dad's little girl again. Mom then said, "Don't worry about the factory job, we'll help you find another one if this one's gone. My parents do have some connections, but I just don't feel like working anymore. Mom, Dad, I want to take next year's college entrance exam. In my past life, I desperately wanted to take the Gaokao. Becoming a university student was the shared dream of our generation, but that terrible fire changed everything. I burned my face saving Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min after marrying Sun Xiaozhong. I had to juggle taking care of him and attending to my in-laws, leaving me no time or energy to prepare for exams. Now that I've been given this rare second chance, I'm determined to make the most of it. With my parents' full support, I went to the bookstore the very next day. On my way back, I spotted Lu Min at the alley entrance. She was wearing a hat, mask, and sunglasses, dressed in her own clothes. In other words, nothing was actually wrong with her. "You came to see me." Lu Min got straight to the point. "Why did you say those things to Xiaozhong? It's true we had mutual feelings before, but we never officially dated. Could you please stop spreading rumors? Now his parents won't leave me alone, insisting I take care of Xiaozhong. What about you?" I asked pointedly, knowing the answer. "Weren't you interested in Xiaozhong too? Or do you look down on him now that he's like this? He became this way for your sake. You know, that's not it. Besides, your skin wasn't completely spared from the burns either. You need treatment money too. Do you even have the funds yourself?" Upon hearing this, Lu Min fell into deep thought. Xiaozhong's family is well off. His parents have saved up quite a sum over the years. They can definitely cover your burn treatment, and I'm certain Xiaozhong would be willing to spend the money for you. After speaking, I asked, "Was there anything else you needed?" "No, I'll take my leave now." 7. I began devouring books and studying voraciously. A few evenings later at dinner, my father brought up the Sun family's affairs. God knows what kind of spell that woman cast on Xiaozhong. He needs a fortune for his own treatment and care, yet he's making his parents pay for her medical bills first. "Dad, that's their family business, let's not meddle in it," my mom chimed in. "Exactly, just drop it," but she couldn't help complaining. "To be honest, I'm really disappointed in Xiaozhong. After all that attention he showered on Hui Hui before." My dad shot my mom a look, and she immediately fell silent. I laughed lightly. "That's all in the past now. I just want to focus on studying for next year's college entrance exams." My dad told me that many of our factory co-workers have visited Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min in the hospital. You didn't even need my dad to tell you. The whole residential compound was buzzing about Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Everyone said adversity revealed their true feelings, and they'd get married once Sun recovered from his injuries. Looks like these two are truly bound together for life. It took over 2 months before Sun Xiaozhong was discharged from the hospital. My parents took me to see him that very day. His head was shaved, and the burned scars had fused his facial skin together, making his entire appearance ghastly and horrifying. Lu Min kept bustling around him, attending to his every need. She, on the other hand, had recovered quite well. I deliberately asked, "Lu Min, you were trapped in the fire first while Xiaozhong entered later. How come his injuries were so much worse than yours?" Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao seemed to just realize this inconsistency, both turning their gaze toward Lu Min. Lu Min hesitated, at a complete loss for words. Finally, Sun Xiaozhong spoke up. "Xiao Min got pinned under a cabinet after I lifted it off her. She'd barely stood up when a beam from the ceiling collapsed on me. She ran out to get help. Actually, from what I know, that pillar wasn't particularly heavy. If Lu Min had stayed to help move it, Sun Xiaozhong wouldn't have gotten so badly hurt." Hearing this, Sun Xiaozhong's parents didn't ask anything further. They helped Sun Xiaozhong into bed, and then everyone left the room. "Su Hui, come in for a moment, I need to talk to you." Sun Xiaozhong's voice came from inside the room. I walked in and closed the door. "Go ahead, say what you need to say." Sun Xiaozhong took a deep breath, his gravelly voice tinged with irritation. "Stop picking on Xiaomin, she's had nothing to do with this from the start." I was completely baffled. "What on earth are you trying to say?" "Let me spell it out then." Sun Xiaozhong sighed. "Su Hui, I know how you feel about me. We grew up together, and both our parents expected us to marry eventually. Here's the truth, had Xiaomin never come into the picture, I would have married you." I nodded in agreement. Before Lu Min came into the picture, becoming Sun Xiaozhong's wife was one of my life goals, something both our families had instilled in me since childhood. Sun Xiaozhong continued, "But now I'm in love with Min, Su Hui, I truly am, I'd die for her. So, we're just not meant to be. Let me go, someone better is waiting for you." And please stop targeting men at every turn. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. After a pause, Sun Xiaozhong seemed to detect the mockery in my laughter and snapped defensively, "What's so funny? Nothing. Just focus on your relationship with Lu Min," I said, turning to leave. "I'm completely over you, Sun Xiaozhong. Stop overthinking things." The audacity of him, looking like that and still telling me to move on. Just looking at him makes me sick to my stomach. 8. I'm not at all surprised the Sun family paid for Lu Min's treatment. Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao only have that one child, of course they'd do whatever she says, even if reluctantly. A year later, Lu Min's hair grew back completely, along with her eyebrows and eyelashes. Even her scars had faded to near invisibility unless you looked closely. You could say Lu Min's completely normal now, though her voice remains slightly husky. Not that she can't pitch it higher when she wants to. A whole new chapter of my life began. That's right, I got into college. My parents threw me a celebration party in our courtyard, inviting neighbors and co-workers. The Sun family and Lu Min came too. "Congratulations, Su Hui," Sun Xiaozhong said sincerely, though his eyes betrayed a hint of envy and bitterness when he looked at me, deep down. He probably wanted to go to college too, but his grades had always been poor. He knew he wouldn't make the cut, so right after high school, he settled for factory work. That very night, Sun Xiaozhong suddenly attempted suicide. His parents couldn't stop him and came running to me for help. "Hui, please, I'm begging you to talk some sense into Xiaozhong. He's my only son. If he dies, I won't be able to go on either." Aunt Xiao clutched at me, sobbing uncontrollably, instead of rushing over. I asked, "Suicide? Why would Xiaozhong want to kill himself?" "You'll understand when you get there. Hurry." Aunt Xiao pulled me along urgently. When we arrived at the Sun residence, Sun Xiaozhong was still shouting, "Let Xiaomin leave, or I'll end my life." That's when I realized Sun Xiaozhong didn't want to drag Lu Min down and tried to send her away, but his parents objected. That's why he attempted suicide. Now that's true love. "Lu Min, what do you think?" I turned to ask her. Lu Min shrank into the corner, murmuring, "I'll do whatever Xiaozhong says." "Bullshit." Aunt Xiao rushed over and slapped Lu Min. "If you hadn't put ideas into Xiaozhong's head, why would he suddenly tell you to leave?" "Mom," Sun Xiaozhong stepped in to shield Lu Min, "I'm the one who told Xiaomin to go. Don't blame her." He pulled out a knife. "If you don't let Xiaomin leave, I'll kill myself right now." With that, he raised the knife and stabbed toward his own stomach. "No, stop." Aunt Xiao screamed herself hoarse, but it was too late. Sun Xiaozhong's knife had already struck him. The wound was shallow, with only a trickle of blood. After all the commotion, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao finally agreed to let Lu Min leave. Sun Xiaozhong was hospitalized again. Fortunately, the wound wasn't serious this time. The doctor just gave him basic treatment before sending him home. 9. The day after Lu Min left, Aunt Xiao came to our house again. Hui. Now that you've been admitted to university and have more free time, could you help keep an eye on Xiaozhong while Uncle Sun and I are at work? You won't need to bother once his injury heals." My parents had gone to work too, leaving me alone at home. I couldn't refuse, so I went to the Sun residence to see Sun Xiaozhong. "You're here." Sun Xiaozhong grinned at me. "Come, have a seat." He gestured toward the chair by the door. I pulled the chair over and sat by the bedside. "How are you holding up? Does the wound still hurt?" "Not bad." Sun Xiaozhong forced a smile, hesitating as he stared at me for a long moment. Words stuck in his throat. I chuckled and spoke for him. "Lu Min's gone. Don't tell me you're about to confess to me." Sun Xiaozhong froze. Clearly, I'd hit the nail on the head. "You're jealous I got into college, aren't you? But you can't go now. And let's face it, you never stood a chance. So you let your precious Xiaomin go for her education. Must have cost you a pretty penny, huh?" The scarred face of Sun Xiaozhong darkened gradually. "Su Hui, you want to marry me, to replace Lu Min as your caretaker?" I scoffed, pushing back my chair as I stood. "Sun Xiaozhong, what makes you think I'd ever marry you?" Sun Xiaozhong looked up eagerly. "But don't you have feelings for me? I told you I don't like you. Are you deaf or just in denial?" I gave him a once-over with disdain. "Or do you still think you're some irresistible charmer and I'm still hung up on you?" A flash of humiliation crossed Sun Xiaozhong's face, the scars twisting his expression into something downright grotesque. "I'm a college student now, and you, not just disfigured, your lower body's burned to a crisp. Marrying you would be a curse for 8 lifetimes. Do I look like an idiot to you?" "Shut up," Sun Xiaozhong roared, "just shut your damn mouth." I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. "Sun Xiaozhong, what makes you think I'd still be interested in you now? Do you take me for a fool? Even a sow would turn tail and run from the sight of you, let alone me. Was it you who drove Lu Min away? You think your love is so noble. If it weren't for your parents holding their favors over her head, and the whole factory gossiping about you too, do you really think she'd stay? She's only sticking around for your family's money. She can't afford to treat her scars otherwise. Shut your mouth. I slapped Sun Xiaozhong across the face again with full force. You still want to marry me? Who do you think you are? Just looking at you makes me sick. You know that. Su Hui. Sun Xiaozhong clutched his wound, struggling to get out of bed. Shut up. I'll kill you. I kicked him hard. Murder gets you the death penalty. You'd better stay alive. Live like the sewer rat you are. Where nobody but your parents would spare you a second glance. Tell your parents to stop coming after me. With those final words, I turned and walked away. Sun Xiaozhong's furious shouts chased after me relentlessly, only fading completely when I finally reached home. I'd planned to humor him temporarily out of respect for Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao, just until college started, but that shameless bastard actually proposed marriage. The only reason I didn't beat him to death was because his life isn't worth my freedom. That evening, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao came straight to see me after work. Su Hui, what the hell is this? We asked you to look after Xiaozhong as a favor. If you didn't want to, fine, but assaulting him, his wounds have reopened. We could report this to the police. My parents tried to intervene, but I stopped them. Uncle Sun, Aunt Xiao, I've shown you both enough respect. I went to care for Sun Xiaozhong when you asked. But let's not pretend we don't all know what you're really after. Sun Xiaozhong wants to marry me out of jealousy, because I got into university and he knew he'd never make it. That's why he pulled that suicide stunt to guilt you into letting Lu Min leave, even funding her education while trapping me here as his caretaker. What the hell do you want? He treated me like an idiot. He had it coming. Go ahead, call the cops. The moment you do, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of people the Sun family really are. Let's see how you hold your heads up after that. Only then did the two of them leave. I knew then, our family and the Suns were done for good, but my parents didn't care. To them, nothing mattered more than me. 10. I never expected to run into Lu Min at my university town. It happened over a month after school started. When I went to the library with classmates and spotted Lu Min, the man she was clinging to had slicked back hair shiny enough for a cow to lick, wearing a floral shirt and a chunky gold chain. The textbook nouveau riche look. When she saw me, Lu Min froze momentarily before flashing a practiced smile and approaching arm in arm with the man. Long time no see. Su Hui, never thought I'd run into you here. I smiled and nodded. I study here. Then I glanced at the man. Is this your boyfriend? Yeah, she said with a tilt of her head, smiling blissfully. After saying something to the man, she pulled me aside and whispered, I haven't told him about Sun Xiaozhong. Don't mention it either. I remained silent, shook off her hand, and walked away with my friend. My friend asked, who was that? Someone you used to know. I shook my head. Not a friend, but a sworn enemy, the kind of enemy you'd gladly watch burn in hell. Maybe fate was on my side, because a few days later, my friend shared a secret with me. Remember that friend of yours, the one we ran into at the library that day when we went to borrow books? I nodded. She continued, let me tell you, that man she was clinging to the other day, he's married. My jaw dropped in surprise, though upon reflection, it wasn't all that shocking. What's so surprising about Lu Min pulling something like this? How did you know? I asked my friend. She said, my brother-in-law knows that guy, he's filthy rich. But his wife is no pushover. They've got some nerve parading around in broad daylight. Really, I feigned indifference, though a plan was already forming in my mind. 11. A few days later, I called my parents and told them about Lu Min dating a married man. Word of this inevitably reached all three members of the Sun household. According to my parents, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao first gave Lu Min a harsh scolding when they heard the news, then turned their anger on Xiaozhong. You paid for her education and college, and what thanks do we get? The moment she leaves, she finds herself a man. Tell me, Xiaozhong, aren't you just a damn fool? Did she stay out of gratitude? She was after our money all along. Without our money, how could her scars have healed so fast? What man would look twice at her covered in scars? Sun Xiaozhong, you're nothing but a country bumpkin. The couple took turns tearing into Sun Xiaozhong, and by now he'd seen Lu Min's true colors. The next day, he dragged his battered body to confront Lu Min. That's what my parents told me. I timed it perfectly, found the man's wife and told her about Lu Min's affair. The scorned wife stormed the streets with an angry mob, cornering a disheveled Lu Min. they pinned her down, beating her mercilessly, nearly stripping her naked in public. Only when someone threatened to call the police did the wife finally drag her family to confront her cheating husband. Lu Min lay crumpled on the ground sobbing. That's precisely when Sun Xiaozhong made his appearance. Lu Min urgently tugged at Xiaozhong's son's clothes. Xiaozhong, give me your jacket now, hurry. Instead of removing his clothes, Xiaozhong's son told the officer, "Officer, she's a friend, I'll take her with me." He then pulled Lu Min up from the ground and led her away. The next day, someone came to find me on Sun Xiaozhong's behalf. That's how I learned he'd been hospitalized again. When I arrived, he was sitting blankly on the hospital bed, his head still wrapped in bandages. At the sight of me, Sun Xiaozhong threw off the blankets and tried to get up, only to tumble onto the floor. He crawled to my feet on his hands and knees. "Hui hui, I remember everything now," he sobbed, clutching my legs, all masculine pride forgotten. His voice was thick with remorse. "I wronged you. In our past life, you were so good to me. You rushed into the flames to save me. Cared for me most of your life, yet, when I died, I left everything to Lu Min." I gasped in shock. He actually regained memories from his past life. 12. Turns out Sun Xiaozhong took Lu Min to a hotel that day and tried to force himself on her. "You filthy whore. I treated you like a goddess, and you go be someone's mistress. If you're so desperate for it, come get it." Lu Min took one look at his face looming above her and immediately vomited, enraged. Sun Xiaozhong tore off Lu Min's clothes and attempted to rape her. During the struggle, Lu Min grabbed a nearby lamp and smashed it violently against Sun Xiaozhong's head, bleeding profusely. Sun Xiaozhong called an ambulance and went to the hospital himself. That slap from Lu Min triggered his past life memories to resurface. The man is still sobbing at my feet right now. His remorse is genuine. "Hui hui, please give me another chance. I swear I'll treat you right this time, love you properly. Give you everything I have." I kicked him away with a scornful laugh. "Take a look at yourself. Even Lu Min would vomit at the sight of you. Do you really think I'd still love you?" Tears streamed down Sun Xiaozhong's twisted face. "Sun Xiaozhong, since you remember our past life now, don't blame me for not stopping you back then. You brought this upon yourself." My final words to him were, "You deserved it." I left. Sun Xiaozhong later called the police, claiming Lu Min had assaulted him. Lu Min countered that she only acted in self-defense against his attempted rape. Eventually, both parties agreed to settle the matter privately. "Sun Xiaozhong, I've repaid what I owed you. Be grateful I didn't send you to prison. Never contact me again. The sight of your face makes me sick." Sun Xiaozhong grabbed Lu Min's wrist tightly. "In our past life, you refused to marry me because you didn't want to take care of me, didn't you?" Lu Min shook him off. "What past life? Are you out of your mind?" With that, she walked away. Sun Xiaozhong glared bitterly at Lu Min's retreating figure. That night, Sun Xiaozhong found Lu Min and killed her. Afterwards, he went to the school to find them. "In my past life," I told him, "the fire's too intense. There's no saving anyone now." I didn't. Some terrified classmates had already called the police, but Sun Xiaozhong didn't leave. He waited for me right at the school gate. When he saw me, he dropped to his knees without hesitation. "Hui hui, I owe you. I've owed you a lifetime. I don't know how to make it up to you. I killed Lu Min. Consider it vengeance for you. I know you've been reborn. Maybe I'll be reborn too after I die. In our next life, would you give me another chance? In my next life, I won't rush into burning buildings again. Let's both stay safe and live peacefully together." "Alright." I glared at him coldly. "Sun Xiaozhong, not in this lifetime nor the next. I never want to see you again for all eternity." The security guards rushed out and restrained Sun Xiaozhong. He was quickly taken away by the police. After the verdict was delivered, he was swiftly executed. What a wonderful world without Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Now I can finally let go of the hatred in my heart and live my own life. Story 2. At 8 years old, I was abducted by human traffickers while trying to save my childhood friend. 10 years later when I returned, my childhood friend had a fake heiress by his side who bore a striking resemblance to me. She openly walked into my home, hugging and being affectionate with my parents. Later, I accidentally witnessed the fake heiress calling the traffickers' mom and dad, discussing plans to abduct me again. The fake heiress panicked and ran me over with her car. My childhood sweetheart even helped her cover up the crime, dumping my body in the ocean. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the moment when traffickers were about to kidnap my childhood sweetheart. I pondered carefully. There seems to be a little boy in the nearby orphanage who looks quite similar to my childhood sweetheart. "Young man, my foot is sprained. Could you take me to the hospital? Ouch, I can't move. I really can't move. Yan Xiao was warm-hearted and couldn't walk away upon hearing this. Granny, isn't your family around? Can't you walk anymore? Come on, I'll carry you on my back. TSK, look at this, how helpful. Who wouldn't see this scene and immediately label Yan Xiao as a good person with admiration? But how could such a warm-hearted and handsome young man just stand by and watch me get kidnapped by traffickers in my previous life without doing anything? Yan Xiao carried the old woman on his back and headed straight for the roadside, turning around after a few steps to urge me. Nij, hurry up, aren't you coming? At just 8 years old, Yan Xiao was still thin and small, struggling slightly as he adjusted the old woman's weight on his back. I muttered oh and then stopped in my tracks. My stomach suddenly hurts so bad. You go ahead first, I'll catch up with you later. After saying that, I immediately ran away in the opposite direction. But heaven gave me a second chance. How could I miss such a satisfying scene? Following my memories from my past life, I first ran into a building. That spot offered a clear view of the alley where I was abducted in my past life. The hospital wasn't far away, and there were quite a few people on the road, but dusk was already falling. Yan Xiao carried the old woman on his back for quite a while before slowly making his way over. Granny, maybe you should walk a bit, you're really heavy. The old woman didn't answer, but instead pulled out a handkerchief from her pocket. In my previous life, when I realized something was wrong, I directly snatched that handkerchief and threw it on the ground, then grabbed Yan Xiao and ran. However, my actions angered the hidden human traffickers. The other two immediately rushed out to grab us. Finally, he managed to escape, and I became the only victim. This time, I stood by the corridor window, coldly watching everything unfold below. The cloth was pressed against Yan Xiao's nose, but he reacted quickly and immediately threw the old woman off his back. His body swayed twice as he clutched his head, uttering 2 fierce sentences before attempting to flee. Apparently, he too had realized something was wrong, but escaping wouldn't be that easy. 2 men blocked his path from front and back, swiftly lifting him by the waist in a matter of seconds. When I faintly heard cries for help, the corners of my lips slowly curled up. Downstairs, Yan Xiao struggled and glanced toward my direction. As our eyes met, I smiled and waved at him. Help, Nij, save me quickly, save him. I saved him in my past life, but I died. I deliberately wandered outside for an extra hour before returning in tears, but my parents didn't seem to care much when they saw me crying. They just said, "Did you get into another fight with Yan Xiao? How many times have I told you? A girl should behave like a girl." I got tired of hearing it and burst into even louder sobs. Dad, Mom, has Yan Xiao come home? I can't find him. At this sentence, my mom was so shocked she dropped her phone. What, didn't you two go out together? Quick, come with me to check next door. My parents hurriedly dragged me to the Yan family's house and asked as soon as we entered, "Is Yan Xiao home? Mother-in-law, have you lost your mind?" Yan Xiao went out to play with Gigi. Yan Xiao and I grew up together since childhood. We're genuine childhood sweethearts, so both sets of parents would jokingly refer to each other as in-laws. But seeing me crying so hard my tonsils were nearly visible, his parents grew anxious too. "Gigi, why are you alone? Where's Yan Xiao?" I sobbed. "He took an elderly woman to the hospital." I had a stomachache and ran to the restroom. But later when I searched the hospital for him, I couldn't find him or that woman anywhere. His parents staggered slightly, grabbed their coats, and rushed out. My parents quickly followed up. "Don't be too anxious. Maybe the child got carried away playing and lost track of time. We'll help you search together. Don't you know the police chief?" Reported immediately and checked the surveillance footage. To make the act convincing, I deliberately returned home wailing loudly. The moment I stepped inside, I wiped away my tears with an instantly expressionless face. This is exactly why I stayed for an hour before going home. Both our families have some small money and resources. What if they check the surveillance and actually manage to rescue Yan Qing? At the very least, I need to buy the traffickers enough time to leave the city. Otherwise, how could I plan what comes next? The look of despair and shock in Yan Zhao's eyes when he was taken away was exactly the same as mine in my past life. In my past life, because of my sudden interference, the traffickers struggled to capture both of us. We desperately ran toward the light at the end of the alley, and just as we were about to be caught, Yan Xiao pushed me forward. I took a nasty fall. I begged him desperately, "Yan Xiao, pull me up quickly, I'm begging you. Once we get out of this alley, we'll reach the bustling street, and both of us can safely go home." the traffickers were getting closer. And I reached out my hand to Yan Xiao in near supplication, but Yan Xiao glanced behind me, gritted his teeth, and ran off alone without looking back. Yan Xiao, I was so scared I started crying, scrambling forward on all fours, but in the end, the trafficker grabbed my leg and dragged me back. Back then, I naively believed that after Yan Xiao ran away, he would bring someone back to save me, but even after I was brutally assaulted by those two beastly human traffickers in the alley for over half an hour, Yan Xiao never returned with anyone. Damn brat, shouldn't have meddled in others' business, originally didn't even want a worthless girl like you, had to open your mouth, didn't you, had to act cheap, right? How does it feel now? Enjoying it. At 8 years old, the pain made me faint repeatedly, only to feel two men taking turns slapping me. Yan Xiao, why, if only you had helped me up, we both could have escaped, even if you had just brought someone back to look for me. I wouldn't have ended up like this. Later I was sold to a remote mountainous area where nothing grows, and endured 10 years of hardship before finally returning home, but when I came back, there was suddenly a girl in my family who bore a 70% resemblance to me. She walked openly into my home, hugging my parents with great affection. Just as I hesitated to approach, she exclaimed in surprise, "Dad, Mom, Brother Xiao, this sister smells so bad, could she have some filthy disease, too?" With an innocent face, she uttered the most vicious words. Just like that, my parents, who had been immersed in the joy of regaining what was lost, suddenly changed their attitude towards me, and Yan Xiao despised me to the extreme. I thought that as long as I treated them well, they would eventually accept me, but to my surprise, what I heard was their icy voices. "If you had died out there, you'd have remained the white moonlight in everyone's hearts. Why did you have to come back and disgust us?" Later, I accidentally discovered the fake heiress calling that pair of human traffickers Mom and Dad, discussing plans to kidnap me again. In her panic, the fake heiress ran me over with her car and killed me, and Yan Xiao even helped her cover up the crime, throwing my body into the sea. If he's so heartless and ungrateful, then there's no problem with me refusing to help when he's in dire straits, right? The wheel of fortune turns. It's time for him to experience what it's like to be in the mountains where everyone eyes you with hostility. Speaking of which, Yan Xiao is handsome and belongs to that clean-cut, slender type. Those desperate old men like this kind the most. They searched all night before coming back. As soon as I pushed open the door, my strict parents grabbed my arms and asked, "Gigi, think carefully again, what did the person Yan Xiao was carrying look like? Draw it for Auntie." She pinched my arm and shook me hard. "Draw it for me." I froze for a moment, then immediately pouted and burst into tears. I don't remember either. I had a stomachache and was rushing to the bathroom at the time. "Dad, Mom, has Yan Xiao been found?" The more heartbroken I cry at this moment, the happier I truly feel inside. Judging by the previous life circumstances, Yan Xiao should already be entering the mountains by now. My parents wiped my tears, then looked at Yan's father and mother as if wanting to say something but hesitating. In the end, they just shook their heads. The four parents sat on the sofa with vacant stares, the strict father and mother resembling soulless marionettes. Only when the phone rang did a faint glimmer appear in their eyes. Had they been found? Watching their sorrowful expressions, I couldn't help but feel a flicker of mockery in my eyes. "It's just a lost child. No big deal, don't worry. You'll feel better after some time." In my past life, Yan Xiao found a foster daughter for my parents, so of course I'll help his parents overcome their grief in this life. Stroking my chin thoughtfully, there seems to be a little boy in the nearby orphanage who looks quite similar to Yan Xiao. By the time he returns, there will already be a fake young master raised to near perfection in the household. He should be happy, right? Half a month passed, and the Yan family had exhausted all their connections without finding Yan Xiao. Yan's parents were immersed in grief every day, having visibly lost weight over those 2 weeks. My heart aches watching them, so I go next door to keep them company every day. "Uncle, Aunt, I'm sorry, if I hadn't gone to the bathroom then, would Yan Xiao still be missing? If I'd known that person was a trafficker, I would have fought desperately to stop him from playing the Good Samaritan." I deliberately say this to keep the conversation going. My strict father and mother looked at me, their lips trembling as tears fell before any words could escape. After my persistent efforts, another week passed before they finally accepted the truth. "Silly child, how could we blame you? You did right by not going. Had you gone, you might have. It's all mine and your uncle's fault. We only taught him to be helpful but forgot this world still has damned human traffickers." As they spoke, The two of them hugged each other and burst into tears again. Having spent nearly a month with them, I had long grown accustomed to such scenes. Watching them cry, I quietly went to the kitchen and made them some plain congee. When they finished crying, I brought it out and said, "Uncle, Auntie, please eat something. What if there's news about Yan Xiao? You'll need your strength later." After my persuasion, they managed to eat a little. Day by day, I gradually integrated into their household like gentle rain moistening the earth, becoming their confidant and emotional support, until the day I deliberately didn't visit, and they couldn't wait to come looking for me at my place. I know I succeeded. 3. After calming their emotions, I suggested, "Uncle, Aunt, how about I accompany you for a walk in the nearby park? Staying indoors all the time isn't good for one's mental health." "Alright, Gigi, we'll follow your suggestion." I curled the corners of my lips and slowly said okay. I accompanied them as they wandered seemingly aimlessly through the park. Mother Yan held my hand tightly while walking and telling me stories about Yan Zhao's childhood. "Yan Xiao was born on the exact same day as you, and our families lived next door to each other. We always felt the two of you were destined to meet." "Gigi, do you know what Yan Zhao's security blanket is?" I asked with feigned interest. "What?" "A big guy like Yan Xiao actually still has a security blanket." A glimmer of amusement flashed in Mother Yan's eyes, but was soon replaced by that tinge of sorrow again. "It's funny to say, but his security blanket is actually the drool bib you used during your confinement month. I don't know how he picked it up, but ever since then, he has to hold it every night when he sleeps." "Yan Xiao, you're the one I like the most. Do you like me? If you like me, why did you stand by and watch me die in our past life? If you liked me, why did that fake heiress who came later replace me?" Just as I was thinking, the footsteps of my strict parents suddenly stopped. Yan Xiao. They let go of my hand and rushed together toward the boy sitting on the bench not far away. "Yan Xiao, why haven't you come home, child? Your father and I were worried sick." "Woo-woo, Yan Xiao, are you trying to scare us to death?" The tightly embraced boy was overwhelmed by their enthusiasm. Not knowing what to do, I simply nodded at him. "This is exactly why I brought them to this park." Wang, that boy from the orphanage, he bears an 80% resemblance to Yan Xiao. Relying on this face and the behavioral habits of Yan Xiao that I taught him, it's enough for him to survive in the Yan family. The strict parents felt deeply disappointed when they realized Wang wasn't Yan Xiao. "But I'm here for you, Uncle, Auntie. Don't you think this is fate? He looks so much like Yan Xiao." "But, big brother, where do you live? I don't remember seeing you before. Can we play together often from now on?" Wang lowered his head and whispered, "I'm an orphan from the orphanage." In their peripheral vision, the strict father and mother's eyes lit up slightly. I then timely offered them an opportunity to step down. "Uncle, Aunt, this is simply fate. How miraculous. We were so close to the orphanage yet never met him. Yan Xiao just now. Uncle, Aunt, would you like to?" How could they refuse? A desperate person will cling to anything they see. It's rare to find someone who resembles your own son. In the end, they still took Wang back to the Yan family and named him Yan Qing. The next day, Yan Qing came to me, remained silent for a while, and then asked, "Why are you helping me so much? How do you know they will definitely take me in?" I tried to make myself appear guileless. "Because the original son of uncle and aunt was taken by human traffickers, and you look so much like him. I hope you study hard and don't let your uncle and aunt down. As long as he behaves well and doesn't cause trouble, he'll become part of the Yan family in the future. By then, his life will undergo earth-shaking changes. Just like that fake heiress, I can't wait for time to pass faster." It would be interesting to see Yan Zhao's expression when he returns after 10 years and finds someone has taken his place at home. With Yan Qing around, the grief of Yan's parents seemed to find its solace. He was such a well-behaved and sensible person that he basically won them over within 2 weeks of arriving home. They even started bringing Yan Qing to my house for gatherings. My mother smiled warmly at Yan Qing. "This child is truly wonderful. It's just a pity he's an orphan. Meeting you all now is his great fortune." Yan Qing seems about the same age as our Gigi. "Where did he go to school before?" After asking, the uncle and aunt turned their gaze to me. "Gigi, uncle and aunt actually wanted to talk to you about this matter today. We want to transfer Yan Qing to your prestigious school. Since he's just arrived, I'm worried he might not adapt well. How about placing him in your class? Could you help Auntie look after him?" I agreed without hesitation. "Sure. This way, I'll have more opportunities to spend time with Yan Qing." The next day, Yan Qing joined our class. It's just that the circle is only so big, And almost everyone knows Yan Qing is the adopted son of the Yan family. Children from wealthy families have always been good at sizing people up. They began testing Yan Qing intentionally or unintentionally, and seeing that he hadn't yet gained a firm foothold in the Yan family, they started excluding and bullying him. I saw all this but didn't intervene. It wasn't until a week later that I finally stood up for Yan Qing when he was being bullied. After all, only after being bullied and then saved would Yan Qing feel grateful towards me. After school, he was cornered again, and I pushed my way in from behind. Then, pretending not to understand their bullying, I said, "Yan Qing, why are you still playing around here? Didn't your uncle and aunt enroll you in tutoring classes so you could help share their burdens sooner?" Yan Qing blinked, momentarily stunned, fortunately, he wasn't a fool. He understood I was deliberately saying this for these people's ears and didn't expose me. Everyone else was dumbfounded. Gigi, are you serious? The Yan family is planning to hand over the company to this adopted son. I tilted my head and said with a smile, "What else can we do? Yan Xiao has already disappeared. And now Uncle Yan only has this one son left. If not Yan Qing, who else could he give it to?" Everyone exchanged glances and instinctively made way for us. "See you tomorrow." Yan Qing and I walked side by side in complete silence the whole way. It wasn't until we were almost home that he finally said, "Thank you for today." Before I could say, "You're welcome," he added, "I know you were helping me out of that awkward situation. Don't worry. I won't dwell on things that don't belong to me." I went through great pains to bring him in, not to see him remain so harmless. I stopped and turned to look at him. Why wouldn't I think about it? Yan Qing seemed stunned by my question, his mouth hanging open as he struggled to find words. I looked at him seriously. "The opportunity is right in front of you, and you still don't know how to cherish it. Do you really want to keep being bullied by others?" Yan Qing frowned, a flicker of complex emotion passing through his handsome eyes. I looked away. He looked so much like Yan Xiao, but I'm just an adopted child. Yan Xiao will eventually come back someday. What's wrong with being adopted? I retorted. What they care about isn't whether you're biological or adopted, only what benefits the family matters most to them. Besides, what does affection even mean? Before I turned 8, my parents doted on me exclusively, practically holding me up to the heavens. Yet when I returned in disgrace 10 years later, they stood with the fake heiress just the same, casting me aside like worthless trash. They look down on me for being dark-skinned and skinny, thinking I'm not presentable. They complain that I've completely forgotten all the social etiquette I learned before, embarrassing them in public. At a dinner gathering with over 20 people, my father even publicly told me to get out just because my chopsticks fell on the floor. But Mom and Dad, for the past 10 years, I've been bound hand and foot with ropes, having to bury my face in the bowl to eat. If I don't eat, I'll starve to death. For me, so-called etiquette was the first thing I discarded. Just surviving to return was hard enough. Feelings will fade with time. Whether to seize this opportunity is up to you. After saying that, I went home first. In this lifetime, I'll only focus on benefits. It seems the words I said to Yan Qing had some effect. He's truly becoming more like a rich second-generation heir with each passing day. Whenever he was unsure about something, he would come to ask me, and he no longer acted submissively toward anyone. Over the years, in addition to learning golf, shooting, equestrianism, and piano, he also mastered financial knowledge and business administration. He grew into someone even more outstanding than the real Yan Xiao. After he secured another project for the Yan family, I waited for him outside the meeting room. As soon as he stepped out, another bouquet of flowers was handed to him. 5. Another big deal closed. Congratulations. Yan Qing held the flowers with one hand and naturally took my bag with the other. Stop teasing me, future richest woman. Let's go home. I smiled without saying a word. Over these years, while Yan Qing has proven herself in various fields, I haven't fallen behind either. By the way, the college entrance exam is coming soon. Which university do you want to attend? I answered without hesitation, University A in this city. Yan Qing glanced at me. What a coincidence. Me too. Watching the night scenery receding outside the window, I slowly curled up the corners of my lips. Almost 10 years have passed. I have been committed to improving myself, gradually taking over connections, resources, and the family business from my parents. Uncle Yan gradually had Yan Qing take over the family business during his spare time from studies. Despite his young age, he excelled in every task assigned to him. This led everyone in their social circle to acknowledge that the Yan family had gained an unexpectedly talented and hardworking adopted son. coupled with his striking looks and tall stature, the guy even became an unexpected internet sensation, although he never intended to make a living from the internet. His completely empty account with no content whatsoever managed to gain 10 million followers. Calculating the time, Yan Xiao should be back soon, but no matter what, Yan Qing had more than one way out. Besides, it's still uncertain which side strict father and mother will favor when the time comes. For this grand drama, I must stay local to watch it conveniently. On the day the college entrance exams ended, Uncle Yan's family and my parents took us out to celebrate. Everyone was overjoyed. With not a trace of gloom visible on strict father and mother's faces, we didn't go home until after midnight. Uncle, Auntie, see you tomorrow. We waved and said goodnight, but as soon as the words left our mouths, a sinister voice came from not far away. Who is he? The strict father and mother answered without hesitation, Yan Qing, our son. Under the streetlight, a shabbily dressed person stomped their feet and roared in despair. If he's your son, then what am I? Everyone froze in shock. And the items in the strict parents' hands fell to the ground. My parents looked at each other. Their hands that were about to open the door silently withdrew. Only I couldn't help but laugh. After waiting for so long, you've finally come back. When I saw the girl standing beside her, my hand hanging by my side suddenly clenched. And Yuan, my parents' adopted daughter in my past life, feared losing her status after I returned home. So she repeatedly framed me and ultimately killed me by running me over. The fake heiress, I'd recognize her even if she turned to ashes. Yan Xiao rushed forward like a madman, staring at Yan Qing as he roared furiously. I was lost, not dead. Do you even care about me as your son? While I was eating pig shit in that godforsaken place, you were all at home having fun and even found someone to replace me. The strict father and mother were too stunned to react. Actually, it's not entirely their fault. Yan Xiao had completely changed in appearance, with greasy hair sticking together and a scar on his dark, grimy face. The neck was filthy, clearly covered in grime, looking just like a black wheel. Speak, say something. I'm back. I'm the child of this family. Get this man out of here. With that, Yan Xiao began shoving Yan Qing. Finally, Yan's parents snapped out of their daze. 6. They instinctively shielded Yan Qing behind them. Xiao, how come you're back? Yan Zhao's eyes turned red as he laughed angrily. Shouldn't I have come back? Fine, I'll leave then. At this moment, an Yuan, who had remained silent all along, grabbed Yan Zhao's arm. Uncle, Aunt, Yan Xiao has suffered immensely during these years of being trafficked. It's only natural for him to feel heartbroken seeing such a scene upon returning home. Just look at the scars on his body and you'll know how much suffering he's endured. Yan Zhao's abdomen and back were covered with scar after scar. I know all too well how these scars came to be. Nothing more than lash marks from whips. Disobey, and you'll be beaten. Resist and you'll be beaten. Try to escape and the beating will be even worse. The strict mother's tears fell instantly. She wanted to hug Yan Xiao, but her outstretched hand never quite made contact. It's good that you're back. Let's go home first. You can take a bath and relax. By the way, look at Gigi. You haven't seen each other for a full 10 years, and she's grown even more beautiful. Before he could finish speaking, Yan Xiao gritted his teeth and lunged at me. I deliberately didn't dodge, but Yan Qing pulled me away from Yan Zhao's attack. And Ji, a lowlife like you doesn't deserve to live in this world. Just die. I'll kill you. Everyone was frightened by his appearance. I also pretended to be pitiful and innocent, trembling as I hid behind my parents. Yan Xiao, why do you say such vicious words to me as soon as you return? I remained silent. Of course I know why. Back then, I also watched helplessly as he was taken away. Yan Xiao pointed at my nose, cursing me, saying I'd die a horrible death, that I was worse than a pig or a dog, saying that the reason he was abducted was all because of me. I didn't defend myself with a single word, just stared at him the whole time with a shocked and hurt expression, just like how nobody believed me in my past life. Now nobody believes him either. During his absence, I almost became like a half-daughter to the Yan family, who would believe his nonsense. Sure enough, seeing that he couldn't dissuade Yan Xiao, the strict father kicked over a nearby trash can and then pointed at him, shouting loudly, "Stop acting crazy here. We checked the surveillance footage back then. You were the one who foolishly got scammed. What does that have to do with Gigi? Get home now." Yan Xiao wanted to say something more, but his father cut him off. "If you don't come back, then get out. From now on, I'll consider myself as having no son." Finally, an Yuan gently nudged Yan Zhao's arm. He finally relented. "Fine, I'll go home, But this is Xiaoen, my girlfriend, she's coming with me. Only then did the farce come to an end. Just as An Yuan was about to enter, she turned back to glance at me. The seething hatred in her eyes left me utterly bewildered. If anyone should bear hatred, it's me who has the right to hate her. Could it be, she's also been reborn? The next day, Yan Qing and I made plans to handle the preparations for the art exhibition together. After a moment's thought, I deliberately went next door. Uncle, Auntie, how is Yan Xiao doing? Yan Xiao, who was eating, threw his chopsticks violently to the ground upon hearing my voice. Dad, I already said last night. From now on we need to draw a clear line with the neighbors. The stern father glanced at him helplessly, while the strict mother quickly stood up and pulled me inside. Don't listen to his nonsense. He just came back and is agitated. Who's agitated? Yan Xiao slammed the table and stood up, taking 2 steps to stand before me. 7. In his previous life, he grew to about 185 centimeters tall, quite a height, but this time, perhaps due to malnutrition, I can match his height just by wearing high heels. And Aiji, stop putting on airs in our house, get out now. The strict father and mother were about to stop him, but the fake heiress from his past life, that is, Xiaoen in this life, stopped them first. Uncle, Aunt, please just listen to what Yan Xiao has to say. And Aiji, I truly don't know how I've offended you. Do you have any idea what kind of life I've been living these years? Those bastards simply, perhaps recalling something painful. Yan Zhao's lips began trembling mid-sentence. But now I'm back, this is my home. Not yours and that pretty boy's. I'm the biological son of the Yan family, the heir to the Yan family's fortune, and none of you are allowed to covet what's mine. I glanced at Father Yan and Mother Yan, then nodded along with his words as if humoring a child. Alright, you're absolutely right, Yan Qing, it's getting late, let's head out now. Where do you think you're going? Yan Xiao blocked our path. I deliberately gave Yan Qing an admiring glance. To attend the launch event of the project that both Yan Qing and I are involved in. By the way, didn't you used to enjoy accompanying your uncle and aunt to these events? Would you like to come with us this time? Yan Zhao's face instantly flushed red with anger. Oh right, I forgot, even with the best platform, being away for 10 years makes it very hard to come back. I smiled and waved at the strict parents. Uncle, Auntie, we're leaving now. After going out, Xiaoen actually followed us. Yan Qing went to wait for me in the car first, while Xiaoen began probing me. I heard you and Yan Xiao were childhood sweethearts, and you were also present during the kidnapping incident back then. Then how come you managed to escape successfully? Watching her feigned innocent expression, I covered my nose and took half a step back. It stinks. Did you not wash properly last night? That fishy stench. You don't have some dirty disease, do you? These were the first words she said to me in our previous life. We stared at each other, the unmasked hatred erupting from our eyes. So you wretched bitch got reborn too. I chuckled coldly. This is what they call divine mercy. The heavens specifically sent me back to deal with you murderous scum. Xiaoen curled her lips in a sneer. What does being reborn change? You'll still lose to me. This lifetime I'll crush you under my wheels, then dump your corpse in the gutter to feed the maggots. By then, your parents will still regard me as their own daughter. I glanced sideways at her and suddenly smiled. Did she think I've done nothing these past 10 years? Now it's probably not that I can't live without them, but that they can't live without me. What are you laughing at? I gave her a once-over and said coolly, it's just that without my family's money being spent on you, you look really ordinary. Guess how Yan Xiao would treat you if he found out your parents were human traffickers. Her pupils contracted in fear as I strode away and got into the Mercedes-Benz parked nearby. Yan Qing handed me a bottle of water. You seem to really dislike the two of them, right? I didn't hide it. If you want to stay here, you'll have to be hostile towards them, just like me. After waiting all these years, isn't this the moment we've been waiting for? Yan Qing started the car while gazing ahead, calmly saying alright. There wasn't really anything important about the press conference, I just used it as an excuse to deliberately provoke them. After finishing most of the work, Yan Qing and I found a coffee shop to sit in. Just sitting there, I saw a Yan family car drive past on the roadside. Could that be Yan Xiao? Follow it and see. 8. The car stopped at the hospital entrance. It was indeed Yan Xiao, and he hadn't brought Xiaoan along, acting all mysterious. And he went straight to the proctology department as soon as he entered. Yan Qing was puzzled. What's he doing here? I just smiled meaningfully. It's impossible that someone would come to the hospital alone just to get hemorrhoids treated. It seems Yan Xiao has been through a lot these years. Yan Xiao stayed in the proctology department all day, insisting before leaving that he couldn't be hospitalized because he had things to do. After he left, I had Yan Qing use his face that resembles Yan Zhao's to trick the doctor. What's going on? Yan Qing's expression was somewhat complicated. Speak up, what on earth is going on? Yan Qing took out a photo and showed it to me. It was a scan Yan Xiao had just taken, clearly showing a round light bulb and a beer bottle inside the abdominal cavity. Even though I was mentally prepared, I was still utterly shocked. Damn, this experience is way more eventful than my past life. Yan Qing's 18th birthday was just a few days away. Although the atmosphere in the Yan household has been somewhat awkward these days, Mr. and Mrs. Yan are still meticulously preparing for his coming-of-age ceremony. Yan Xiao has been constantly causing trouble. When I came home, you didn't even throw a party to welcome me. Now just because some foster son is turning 18, you're making such a grand celebration for his coming-of-age ceremony. Mom, Dad, have you lost your minds? I'm your real son. Standing by with an innocent look, I said, but Brother Yanqing not only won various competitions but also participated in company projects early, bringing much honor to the family. Moreover, this birthday banquet isn't just for him, many people will be coming. After all, adult gatherings are just another business arena. Father and Mother Yan gave Yanqing and me approving glances. Yet when their gaze fell on Yan Xiao, they sighed almost imperceptibly. Your father and I have told you many times, if you could just control your temper a little, we'll immediately hold a banquet for you and arrange for you to study abroad. That girlfriend of yours can also. Before the words were finished, Yan Xiao abruptly stood up again. What do you mean? You want to send me away and hand the company to this pretty boy? Let me tell you, no way. Our family's business must go to me. Otherwise I'd rather destroy it than let you give it to an outsider. If I'm suffering, nobody gets to be happy. Did anyone think of me when I was enduring hardships outside? No, you're here raising someone else's son, deluding yourselves into thinking you're enjoying family bliss. Stupid, fucking morons. The stern father finally reached his breaking point upon hearing this. He smashed the teacup beside him on the ground. If you keep spewing this filth, get the hell back where you came from. Yan Xiao trembled with rage, but in the end, Shaoan pulled him outside. After comforting my stern father, I finally returned home, only to coincidentally run into those two playing with crickets on the road. With such a perfect opportunity, how could I resist going over to provoke them? Getting angry already? Yan Xiao, not to be rude, but you're becoming increasingly petty these days. Yan Xiao even wanted to throw hands with me. While Shaoan stood by watching the drama with cold eyes, I stood firmly in place without dodging, simply saying, if you hit me, all of the Yan family's shares will belong to Yan Qing. What do you mean? I looked at them with a smile. You didn't know, but Yan Qing is truly outstanding. He's been part of this family for 10 years, and uncle and aunt already signed documents giving him 10% of the shares, effective on his 18th birthday. That was the first time I saw someone so angry their eyes could literally shoot flames. After the 18th birthday coming-of-age ceremony, Yan Qing will officially become a legitimate shareholder. Yan Xiao gritted his teeth. This is absolutely outrageous. Many people came on the day of the coming-of-age ceremony. As today's protagonist, Yan Qing was radiant from head to toe. He followed his strict parents in conversing with the guests. After 10 years of immersion, he had long since become adept at handling such occasions. Just as the cake was being cut, Yan Xiao suddenly popped open a champagne bottle and sprayed it directly at Yan Qing on stage. Champagne splashed equally on everyone, causing continuous screams at the scene. Yan Qing's carefully styled hair got wet and stuck to his forehead, with a few drops of champagne running down his cheeks. Yan's parents were also startled, but it was too late to stop it. Why are we celebrating this outsider's birthday? Why did you introduce him to so many people? Yan Xiao roared from behind, still unsatisfied, then stormed onto the stage and grabbed the microphone. Open your eyes and see clearly. I am the legitimate heir of this family. That imposter, I'll kill him sooner or later. Before he could continue his outburst, Father Yan rushed up and slapped him. Shut up. Sorry everyone. Yan Xiao has some mental issues. He's crazy. Ah, Yan Xiao. How dare you hit your own father? The father and son started fighting right in front of everyone, scaring all the guests away. I helped Yan Qing wipe the wine stains off his face. This is the best birthday gift I could give you. From now on, Yan Qing will no longer pose any threat. The corners of Yan Qing's lips lifted slightly, but just as he was about to answer me, his brows furrowed again. He quickly pulled me behind him and then kicked out with his leg. Only then did I realize Xiaoan was charging at me with a knife. Even after being kicked to the ground, she kept shouting defiantly, "Again, do it again." 9. Yan Qing frowned. Is she mentally ill? Of course I understood what she meant by again. Unfortunately, she would never get another chance in this lifetime. Father Yan and Yan Xiao had a complete falling out. They severed their father-son relationship, and Yan Xiao was driven out of the house. Meanwhile, I had reporters expose Yan Xiao's film. Instantly, topics about Yan Xiao went viral across the internet. No, I'm just curious how this but guy could still fight people with a foreign object inside his body. But guy, no, I just slipped while showering and accidentally sat on it. He might genuinely be insane. A flood of negative comments can quickly drown a person. A few days later, I received a text message from Yan Xiao. Same old place, dare you come? It took me a long time to recall where the same old place he mentioned was. That evening I gladly accepted the invitation, but I was already prepared. When the car charged at me again, its 2 tires burst before reaching me, and it crashed into a large tree nearby. I watched coldly as they all got injured. Would I fall at the same place twice? There was a gash on Yan Zhao's forehead, blood streaming down his face. He glared at me fiercely. Why on earth would you do this to me? I laughed. I'm just treating you the way you treated me, faintly. I caught a whiff of gasoline in the air, watching the gasoline slowly spreading across the ground. I cut to the chase. You've been stuck in a place called Huangdiga village all these years, unable to escape, right? A flicker of surprise flashed in Yan Zhao's eyes. How did you know? I curled my lips. I also know that your girlfriend's parents are human traffickers. Yan Xia didn't believe me, so I smiled and tossed him a video. It was Xiaoan who affectionately called the traffickers mom and dad, and even gave them many ideas on how to abuse Yan Xiao. As for how I obtained this video, of course, after I was reborn, I secretly sent someone to the trafficker's house early on to install hidden cameras. Xiaoan also saw the content of the video, screaming and shaking her head. No, it's not true. Yan Xiao was furious. I'll kill you, you bitch. I turned and walked away quickly. Let the fire cleanse this pair of scum. Upon hearing the news of Yan Xiao's death, his parents weren't as grief-stricken as one might expect. Instead, it felt like a weight had been lifted. The strict father was also badly beaten, and coupled with the psychological blow, he seemed to have aged 10 years. Yan Qing smoothly became the sole heir. My parents were at home watching TV and sighing over the series of events that had happened to the Yan family. Is there some kind of superstition in their family? There's been way too much happening lately. If you ask me, we should find someone to ward off the bad luck. I let out a cold laugh and turned off the TV with a wave of my hand. You. Meeting my parents' gaze, I pulled out 2 plane tickets and said slowly, the elders next door have all retired. You should go abroad to enjoy your retirement years too. /NIG. Have you grown too big for your boots? /10. I stood up with a smile, then shook the small medicine bottle in my hand. Dad. Your heart hasn't been feeling well lately, and all the special medicine has been coming from me. In reality, there was no special medicine at all, just vitamins. The reason he thought it worked was simply because on the days he took the medicine, I didn't poison him. My dad was instantly hit where it hurt the most. He slumped back onto the sofa. All right. The child has grown up and started scheming for power. I went straight upstairs. In my past life, they believed the fake heiress's instigation and distanced themselves from me. Letting them retire abroad was already my mercy. The next morning when I left for work, I happened to run into Yan Qing at the door as he was about to leave. He tilted his chin at me. Let's go. With a smirk, I got into his car. Let's go. Our battlefield has only just begun. Story 2. It is common knowledge that I like Qin Henian. He and I were drugged and locked in the same room, even with bloodshot eyes. He was unwilling to touch me. He looked at me with a cold expression and said, "You're really debasing yourself by learning to drug men and offer yourself to them." Everyone thought I would take advantage of this situation and force him to marry me. However, without hesitation, I cut my wrist and soaked it in cold water to stay awake and live streamed to prove my innocence. In my previous life, Qin Henian firmly believed that I was behind the scheme. As a result, he failed to marry Gu Mian, the girl he loved the most. He hated me for his entire life. In the 10th year of our marriage, Gu Mian and I both fell into the sea. Before drowning, I watched him swim towards Gu Mian. In this life, I will never repeat the same mistakes. 1. Qin Henian was kneeling in the corner with red-rimmed eyes, and the gentle and refined smile in his eyes was gone. He had always been measured in his actions and rarely got angry. At this moment, there was a faint anger in his eyes, and his face became even more gloomy. He coldly questioned me. Did you drug me, Song Jian? Have Mian and I been too kind to you, that you dare to scheme against me? I had been in love with Qin Henian for 6 years, and it was well known. And it was also common knowledge that the person in Qin Henian's heart was Gu Mian. My brain was also controlled by the drug. In the last moment of remaining lucidity, I didn't hesitate to pick up the knife on the table and scratch my arm. The blade was sharp, and as soon as it touched my arm, red liquid flowed out immediately. I stumbled and ran to the toilet, filled the sink with water, and immersed both hands in it. When the pain was greater than the body's heat, my brain finally cleared. It hurt so much that it went numb. In the previous life, the effect of the drug was too strong, and I completely lost my mind. Under my seduction and the control of the drug, Qin Henian couldn't help but be moved. When he woke up, there was no longer any smile on Qin Henian's face. His eyes were filled with indifference and disgust. Qin Henian and I were family friends. He was my nominal little uncle, and there was no blood relationship between us. The first time I saw him, my cheeks turned red. After I came of age, I pursued him openly. He taught me gently like an elder, Jian, this is not love. You're still young and don't know what love is. He thought that my liking was just a child's whim and wouldn't last long. But this liking lasted for 6 years in a blink of an eye, until he and I were framed, drugged, and locked in the same room. From then on, he never had a good look for me again. Outside the hotel that day, a group of reporters crowded tightly. As soon as the door was opened, the messy clothes on the ground and our disheveled appearances could be seen. Everyone tacitly knew what had happened. Finally, for the sake of both families and the company's stocks, Qin Henian had to marry me to end the matter. The relationship between Gu Mian and Qin Henian had always been ambiguous. Qin Henian liked Gu Mian. They kept in touch but never confirmed their relationship. I once asked Gu Mian, Sister Mian, will you marry Qin Henian? Do you like him? Gu Mian smiled gently, and her eyes dimmed a bit. No, I don't like him. After getting her answer, I dared to pursue Qin Henian so recklessly, but I never expected such a thing to happen. After marrying Qin Henian, I became the laughingstock in the eyes of the noble ladies and the daughters of aristocratic families. Qin Henian, who had always been indifferent to women, began to wander around nightclubs and bars. In the eyes of outsiders, Qin Henian was the victim in this marriage. He was extremely pitiful. After being schemed by me, he lost his lover and was forced to marry a woman he didn't love. In the 10 years of marrying him, I was criticized and insulted. Gu Mian, as the well-known first love school beauty of University A, was protected by everyone. I became the vicious supporting female character in everyone's eyes. Qin Henian treated me coldly and indifferently. Every time he looked at me, there was only hatred in his eyes. Song Jian, you haven't learned anything all these years. You've only learned to debase yourself and offer yourself to men, I had explained, but they all didn't believe that I was also a victim in this matter. The man I had wanted to marry since I first fell in love completely shattered after I turned 22. After marriage, I tried to change his view of me, but he became colder and colder towards me day by day. For Gu Mian and to divorce me, Qin Henian continuously expanded the business territory of the Qin family. Within a few years, the Qin family became the absolute number one, allowing the Qin family and the Song family to be completely separated. Qin Henian held a grand birthday party for Gu Mian without considering my feelings. The upper-class society all knew that I, Song Jian, the wife of the Qin family, was just a nominal one. In my youth, that bosom big sister who repeatedly said that she didn't like Qin Henian was actually enjoying everything that Qin Henian gave her. She clearly said that she didn't like Qin Henian, but when I was slandered for interfering in her relationship with Qin Henian, she remained silent. At the banquet, Gu Mian and I fell into the water together. When I fell into the water, I saw Qin Henian's face suddenly change, and he swam towards Gu Mian, too. When Qin Henian saw me cutting my hand, his eyebrows furrowed tightly, and he walked towards the bathroom, to prevent the reporters from taking things out of context. I didn't dare to soak in the bathtub. As long as my clothes were a little wet, it could be fabricated that something almost happened between Qin Henian and me. I could only cut my wrist to hurt myself and also took the initiative to turn on the live stream to record my every move. When I saw him approaching me, I roared, "Don't come over, stay away from me." Suddenly, the door was kicked open. The reporters outside quickly swarmed in. The flashlights went off with a clicking sound. Seeing the intact clothes on Chin Henian and me and the neat and orderly furnishings in the room, and the distance between Chin Henian and me, the reporters showed disappointed expressions. I didn't want to have any relationship with Chin Henian. I completely relaxed. This time, nothing would happen between Chin Henian and me. When I saw a friend come in, I felt relieved and closed my eyes. Chin Henian and I were both sent to the hospital. As soon as I opened my eyes, in front of me was Gu Mion's plain face. She was wearing a washed-out long dress and looked pitiful. Her tone was a bit anxious and tinged with a crying voice. Jiayin, I know you like Henian, but you can't ruin your innocence like this. Do you know how important this is for a girl? Gu Mion's words were subtly implying that I was the one who drugged them. Chin Henian was also in the ward. He recovered faster than me. There was no sign of embarrassment, as if nothing had happened. Gu Mion looked extremely nervous and worried, acting as if she was doing it for my own good. I lifted my eyelids and looked at Chin Henian. Call the police, this is not a small matter, Gu Mion shouted in a somewhat sharp voice. No, Chin Henian's gentle gaze fell on her. I looked at her coldly. She pinched the corner of her clothes and explained, Jiayin, you're a girl. This matter will have a bad impact on you, if people find out. They will say that you're indiscreet and stop at nothing to pursue a man. Chin Henian's expression was cold. There was no longer the measured smile and care he used to have for me. There was only disgust and dislike. After listening to Gu Mion's explanation, he was stunned for a moment. His tone was cold and warning. Song Jiayin, I won't pursue this matter this time, but don't let this happen again. I smiled faintly. Why not pursue it? Why should I be drugged for no reason and almost have my innocence ruined by you? I won't let go of the person who drugged me behind my back. I saw that Gu Mion's face turned a bit pale. The arc of Chin Henian's mouth curled up with sarcasm. He seemed to think that me calling the police was a joke. In his heart, he thought that this matter was my self-directed and self-acted play. In my previous life, I didn't have the opportunity to explain, but after marrying him, I explained countless times. He never believed me. What he thought didn't matter to me, but I wouldn't let myself take the blame for no reason. 3. After being discharged from the hospital, I seriously attended classes at school. I only went home on weekends. My family and the Chin family were family friends. No matter what, we couldn't completely cut off contact. My parents often went abroad and left me in the Chin family. But after being discharged from the hospital, I no longer pestered Chin Henian. In the upper-class circles of the capital, everyone knew that I was Chin Henian's little tail and would stick to him all day long. I was vigilant against every opposite sex around him and spared no effort to dispel their coveting and attaching to Chin Henian. I deleted all the copywriting and photos related to Chin Henian in my moments in one go. The Weibo that had recorded him for 6 years was also cancelled. On the weekend, I returned to the Chin family. Chin Henian was leaning against the sofa. His long legs were crossed, and he sat there looking at me. His deep voice had no fluctuation. Back, I was stunned for a moment, then nodded and changed my shoes. His expression was cold. Song Jiayin, I've spoiled you too much, which made you dare to drug me. Your parents haven't come back yet, but because of your parents' instructions before they left, I will still take good care of you for them. I'll tell you one last time, I don't like you. Stop pestering me, remember? You should call me little uncle. I sneered and looked at him without speaking. I walked straight towards the room that originally belonged to me. With my back to him, he said, from today on, I won't come back here anymore. You can live in this villa as you like. Before leaving, he sneered casually and looked at me contemptuously, telling me, the mistress of the Chin family will only be Gu Mion. You're so old, love yourself. Don't always do things like chasing after men. Don't do such debasing things like offering yourself again. I didn't stop and walked up the stairs. If he thought I was chasing after him, then why did he accept the pair of rings my parents gave me? My parents gave me a pair of customized rings when I was born. When I turned 18, my mother gave me the rings. Baby, you're an adult now and can pursue the boy you like. When you have a boy you really like in the future, give him the other ring as your token of love. It's also a blessing from your father and me for your love. On the day I came of age, I couldn't wait to give the ring to Chin Henian. He let me put the ring on him. I told him the meaning of this ring, and he accepted it. I didn't call him little uncle because he simply didn't deserve it. After he left, I packed all my luggage and moved back to the dormitory. My parents were still abroad, and it was deserted to go home. 4. I started to integrate into college life. Gu Mion called me from a strange number. Jiayin, are you angry? I know Henian doesn't like you, and it's embarrassing for you that he didn't accept your initiative, but don't ignore me, okay?" Hearing this, I found it ridiculous. "If you talk nonsense again, just wait for the court summons. This is slander." As soon as the words fell, a man's voice came from the other end of the phone. His voice was very low and deep. "Song Jian, where's your upbringing? Who allowed you to talk to an elder like this?" I suddenly laughed. "What kind of elder is she?" Qin Henian said. "Little aunt. How shameless. What right did she have to claim kinship with me?" What did Qin Henian like about Gu Mian? Did he like her cold and self-righteous little white flower look? She had a pitiful background and raised her younger brother alone. In Qin Henian's eyes, she had a gambling father, a sick mother, and a poor her. I was a pampered and innocent daughter of a wealthy family. On the other end, Gu Mian said softly and weakly, "Henian, don't say that, she'll be sad." I snorted, "Be careful that I sue both you and her. Suing one person is the same as suing two people." I was too lazy to argue with them. I hung up the phone and didn't hesitate to block this strange number. Lu Yuyu was the first friend I made in the dormitory. She knew my feelings for Qin Henian best, before I died in my previous life. I had already suffered from depression. If it weren't for Lu Yuyu, I'm afraid I would have left long ago. Now that I have a new life, I just want to cherish it. 5. Qin Henian really never went back to that villa again, and neither did I. On the weekend, I received an invitation to a banquet. At the banquet, except that I didn't pester Qin Henian as usual, everything was the same as before. When Qin Henian made an appearance, everyone's eyes turned to me and him. Many girls surrounded him. When everyone thought I would step forward to drive away the girls around him, I turned around and walked into the dance floor instead. When Qin Henian saw me turn around, his body froze slightly, and he retracted his gaze. Everyone looked at each other in astonishment, finding it inconceivable that I didn't follow behind Qin Henian. Later at the banquet, if it weren't for Xin Yueza, Qin Henian's brother, making a bet in the circle, I wouldn't have paid any attention to Qin Henian at all. Xin Yueza shouted with great interest, "Let's make a bet. How long can Miss Song be noble and not pester Brother Hen?" I took a sip of the cocktail in my hand to moisten my throat, snatched the microphone from Xin Yueza's hand, and smiled sweetly. "Then let me tell you, I, Song Jian, will never be with Qin Henian in this life. Also, don't mention me and Qin Henian together. Too much gossip will affect my love life. I'm Qin Henian's little niece." I, who had always been reluctant to call him uncle before, personally said that I was his niece. My gaze crossed the crowd and met Qin Henian's. His eyes suddenly contracted. I saw his expression flustered for a moment, and then it immediately turned calm. 6. Before, I openly pursued Qin Henian and drove away many of his potential partners. Now, many people were eager to approach him. I didn't look at him again and walked to the center of the dance floor. When I was having a great time, Qin Henian walked into the crowd and pulled me out. Gu Mian's tone was worried and anxious, and her eyes were misty. "Jian, stop being petty. Henian and I are very worried about you." When Qin Henian looked at me, his expression was only indifferent and distant, and his tone was slightly warning. "Song Jian, you're so old. Don't be so childish. Do you think you can stimulate me by casually finding a man to dance with you? Now you're also 22 years old. Before, Mian Mian and I spoiled you too much, which made you have the guts to scheme against Mian Mian and me." In his heart, I had already been branded with the label of being shameless. I looked at his eyes and said firmly, "Little uncle, I've called the police about what happened last time. Don't throw dirt on me. I'm also a victim. I also have the right to question whether it was you who drugged me." Xin Yueza strolled slowly to our side. He covered his lower abdomen and laughed heartily as if he had heard the most ridiculous joke. After laughing for a while, he said, "Jian, who doesn't know that you like Henian? Let me calculate. You've liked him for 6 years. He's always treated you like a child, and you like to throw yourself at him." Since I had such a passionate liking for Qin Henian, after this incident, everyone thought that I wanted to ruin my own reputation to threaten Qin Henian into marrying me. I pursed my lips and smiled. "I did like him indeed, as you said. He treated me like a child. That was all because I was young and naive. My liking for him was only limited to the admiration for an elder, not romantic love." I looked at Qin Henian with a magnanimous gaze, and there was no love in my eyes anymore. "Little uncle, am I right? I don't think anyone would like their own niece." 7. Qin Henian was stunned for a moment. Song Jian's eyes were calm, without a trace of softness or emotion. There was no longer the love she used to have, and she was overly magnanimous. Her eyes made him feel a bit flustered. hearing Song Jiayin trying her best to distance herself from him and repeatedly calling him little uncle, his heart inexplicably felt a sense of sinking. The busybodies around started to point and talk, speculating whether it was Song Jiayin who had drugged them. Someone said, Song Jiayin is probably playing hard to get, she drugged them and still wants to clear her name. Does she really think that just because she looks so confident, everyone will believe she didn't do it? Yeah, she used to like sticking to President Qin, how could she suddenly stop liking him? Dancing with other men in the dance floor is just to make President Qin jealous. Hearing these gossiping words, he felt a bit annoyed. Qin Henian's eyebrows furrowed slightly. When Song Jiayin was chatting merrily with several young men in the dance floor, he felt a bit displeased in his heart. She was willing to dance with strange men just to anger him. Qin Henian said coldly, alright, Jiayin, show up in front of me less in the future. Even though I'm your little uncle, you should know the difference between men and women. 8. Hearing Qin Henian's words, I nodded, you're right, little uncle. Do you have to meddle in who I dance with? Aren't you being too nosy? I left without giving him any time to react. After the banquet, I went back to the dormitory. I also brought a box of Lu Yuyu's favorite pastries by the way. After washing up, I went to sleep. When I woke up, I saw an unanswered call. Living in the dormitory, I was used to turning on the do not disturb mode. There were also a bunch of messages popping up. Song Jiayin, you didn't go home last night. I accidentally answered an unknown number. The man's voice was as cold as if it had been quenched with ice. Song Jiayin, you didn't go home last night. Where did you go? I yawned slowly. Of course I was in the dormitory. He immediately heaved a sigh of relief, and then questioned me again. Did you post the black material about Mian Mian? She's your future little aunt. You'd better show her some respect. Delete those things on the internet immediately. I cursed under my breath that he was crazy. 9. After logging onto the software, I found a post in my tone and under my identity, secretly implying that Gu Mian had interfered in the relationship between Qin Henian and me. Immediately, someone in the comment section refuted for Gu Mian. Qin Henian has never liked that arrogant and unreasonable daughter of the Song family. He has always liked Gu Mian. If we're talking about being a mistress, you, Song Jiayin, are the mistress. Gu Mian was the school beauty of University A, voted by her alumni and netizens. She became popular overnight on the internet but didn't make money from the traffic, so everyone's impression of her got better and better. In my previous life, after I married Qin Henian, the online trend was in her favor. For a full 10 years, I lived under verbal attacks. I, the daughter of the Song family, became a mistress hated by everyone, loving my family, friend little uncle and snatching the lover of my neighbor big sister. Before the drugging incident, I had a very good relationship with Gu Mian. I always regarded her as my bosom sister. I met her when I was 12 years old. She was 18 that year and was working part-time at my home. My parents protected me very well. I was the only heir of the Song family. My parents didn't want me to be wronged as an older sister and never considered having a second child. I, who grew up in a utopia, was almost violated when I was 12 years old, which left me with a huge shadow. Just when I was extremely painful, Gu Mian appeared. She enlightened and comforted me like a big sister. She encouraged me to make friends and make pen pals on the internet. What Qin Henian didn't know was that I met him when I was 12 years old. He was like Gu Mian that year, a kind big brother and big sister in my growth, guiding me out of this shadow. When I was 16, I recognized Qin Henian the first time I saw him. I told Gu Mian about my liking for Qin Henian, but she was stunned for a moment and told me to bravely pursue the person I liked. She said that if you like someone, you should pursue them passionately. She taught me to drive away all the opposite sex around Qin Henian. She told me that if there were too many opposite sex around Qin Henian, maybe he wouldn't like me. I did as she said, and I became the hot-tempered daughter of the Song family in everyone's eyes. It wasn't until before I died, at Gu Mian's birthday party, that I found out that Qin Henian had always thought that the person he was chatting with back then was Gu Mian. Gu Mian knew that Qin Henian didn't like girls who were too proactive, so she deliberately guided me to make Qin Henian dislike me, but she didn't expect that Qin Henian would be particularly tolerant of me. The reason why Gu Mian and I fell into the sea together was also her doing. Qin Henian saw me, but he quickly made a choice and swam towards Gu Mian. I could swim, but I didn't want to swim anymore. I didn't make any self-rescue moves. Fortunately, God had mercy on me and gave me a second chance at life. I immediately retained the blockchain and traced the source address of the poster. When I saw that IP A faint smile curved my lips. 10. The rumors and gossips related to Gumion on the internet were quickly removed. The account pretending to be me was also immediately cancelled. During this period, I completely cut off contact with Chin Henian. I learned from my friends in the circle with whom I had a good relationship that he had been taking Gumion to parties recently. My friend asked me if I had really let go, and I smiled and asked, otherwise. Suddenly, the other end of the phone became quiet. My friend said, Jian. He walked past me. He heard our conversation. Sorry, I chuckled. I'm serious, I don't like him anymore. 11. When Chin Henian heard the girl talking to Song Jian on the phone, he deliberately slowed down his pace. These days, Song Jian had completely disappeared from his side. The photos related to him in Song Jian's moments had been deleted, and it was set to be visible only for the last 3 days. The little girl who was like a little son, surrounding him and cheerfully driving away all the opposite sex around him, was gone, and he was a bit unaccustomed. After the banquet, he never saw Song Jian again. When he returned to the Chin family, the nanny told him, Miss Song, she hasn't come back for a long time. He stopped in his tracks, and his heart seemed to be sinking little by little. The nanny said cautiously, Miss Song might just be angry. Should Mr. Chin coax her, call her back? Yesterday, he also heard Shin Yueza say that he met Song Jian in the mall. Thinking of this, a faint smile curved Chin Henian's lips. No need, the little girl is just throwing a tantrum, she'll be back in a few days. He thought that since Song Jian was secretly preparing a gift for him, she would come back obediently in a few days. 12. Chin Henian's friends all thought that I would return to his side in a few days. He thought that my reluctance to return to the Chin family was deliberately playing petty, in order to get his attention. In his view, my estrangement from him meant that I hadn't completely let go. Therefore, in order to dispel my love for him, he arranged several blind date partners for me. On Chin Henian's birthday, my parents told me, Jian, Henian is at least half an elder to you, take a gift to him for your father and me. Chin Henian was of the same generation as my parents but wasn't much older than me. I sent the gift my parents gave to Chin Henian to the reception desk of his company. I was absent from his birthday. I blocked one of his numbers, but he could still contact me with countless unknown numbers. He called me and asked in a deep voice, why didn't you come last night? I answered magnanimously, I had too many classes. Jian, stop being petty, this trick of yours won't work on me. I don't like you, and that's that. Move back to the Chin family soon. I have many nice friends, I'll introduce them to you another day. I smiled and asked him, blind date? He replied, not exactly. Just let you get to know more people, meet them first. If you don't like them, we'll talk about it later. I raised the corners of my lips. No need, little uncle, I have a boyfriend. I moved out of Chin Henian's villa and lived a carefree life on campus. As graduation was approaching, I began to regret that I had devoted all my attention to Chin Henian in the past and hadn't been able to fully enjoy campus life. When Lu Yuyu wasn't with me, I forgot to bring my meal card when I went to the cafeteria to get food. A pair of beautiful, fair hands with distinct knuckles held the meal card and paid for me. We added each other on WeChat and contacted frequently. His name was Chin Yubai, from the computer science department. Later, I found out that he was the one who helped me find the account that was pretending to be me and scolding Gumion. With his help, the broken surveillance at that time was restored. I also obtained more powerful evidence, so, Chin Yubai and I started our first relationship. 13. After hanging up the phone, Chin Henian was silent for a long time. He stood on the balcony until the middle of the night. The cigarette burned out, and he didn't even feel the spark burning his hand, until Shin Yueza excitedly told him, Brother Hen, Song Jian is in a relationship. A photo was sent to his phone. In the photo was Song Jian and a young boy. The girl in the photo was smiling brightly and beautifully, and the boy was high-spirited. They looked very well matched standing together, but he found it extremely. The corners of his eyes lifted, and a trace of hostility flashed in his eyes. Seeing the ring on the boy's hand, he almost crushed the cup in his hand. His heart suddenly beat violently. No matter how much he told himself that there was nothing to be angry about, his heartbeat couldn't return to normal. Over the years, he had indeed developed feelings for Song Jian, but Gumion had saved his grandmother's life. His grandmother's last wish before she died was for him to marry her savior, so, he had always maintained extreme rationality. Plus, the pen pal he met when he was 18 turned out to be Gumion. He felt that he and Gumion were destined. He kept telling himself that the person he should marry was Gumion. He couldn't believe that the little girl who had chased him for 6 years had fallen in love with someone else so quickly. 14. Shinyueza knew about my relationship and publicized it for me, so everyone in the whole circle knew about it. People in the circle started to guess how long I would be angry this time before returning to Chin Henian's side. They all thought that I wanted to use the way of dating someone else to attract Chin Henian's attention. Some people also thought that it was too naive for me to try to get Chin Henian's attention in this way, but I was seriously in a relationship. In the past, my world only had Chin Henian, but now he was long gone from my future plans. When I was trying on the graduation ceremony dress with Lu Yuyu, Chin Henian suddenly appeared in front of me. He had a blank expression and a sullen face, and he educated me in the manner of an elder. Song Jian, in order to anger me, you casually date someone else. Do you understand what self-love is? My body froze slightly, and I looked at him with a smile, without any emotion in my eyes. How am I not self-loving by being in a relationship? Chin Henian's eyes were deep. He stared at me and said, Jian, you're young and can't tell right from wrong. You don't have a good eye for men either. When can I meet him? I pursed my lips and smiled. Thank you, but what should I call you? Little uncle. You're right about one thing. My previous taste in men really wasn't good, but both my parents are only children. You're at most a good friend of my parents. So, in what capacity are you lecturing me? My boyfriend and I have a very good relationship. We've met each other's parents, so don't worry about it. He suddenly grabbed my arm, and his eyes became colder and colder. You've met each other's parents. I nodded. Yeah, we met through a video call, which also counted as meeting. The man's voice volume increased with anger. Song Jian, his sudden shout of my name and his grip on my arm startled me. I saw his eyes suddenly turn red. Do you really know the other person well enough to be together so easily? Since your parents entrusted me to take care of you, then I have to take care of you. I broke free from his restraint. Chin Henian, mind your own business. Are you the police of the Pacific Ocean? Why are you so nosy? Not long ago. In fact, Chin Yubai and I broke up peacefully because of different life plans. 15. I called Gu Mian, and Gu Mian rushed over quickly. She walked to Chin Henian's side and took his hand. Henian, don't argue with Jian. Jian is young. Don't be angry with her. Chin Henian's eyes were deep and cold, staring straight at me. Ignoring Gu Mian's words, Gu Mian turned around and took my hand, persuading me in the capacity of Chin Henian's lover. Jian, apologize to your little uncle, I sneered. The one who should apologize is you, Gu Mian. Chin Henian may be blind, but the surveillance isn't. The gentle and obedient Gu Mian in front of me suddenly changed. She darkened her face, changed her expression, and forcefully dragged me towards the pool beside us. I steadied myself and used all my strength to hold on to her. In an instant, Chin Henian also immediately changed his expression and stepped forward to grab us. 16. An image immediately flashed through his mind. Song Jian and Gu Mian fell into the water together, but he didn't hesitate to save Gu Mian. He saw Song Jian's eyes, which scared him. The color had drained from her eyes. There was no will to survive, and they were as dull as a stagnant pool. When Song Jian was rescued, her face was deathly pale and her lips had lost their color. No matter how much he shouted or gave her artificial respiration, she refused to open her eyes. She lay in the ICU with an oxygen tube inserted, and the doctor pronounced her dead. He knelt in front of the hospital bed, crying hoarsely and shouting desperately, Song Jian, I was wrong. Please open your eyes and look at me. Okay. When she was covered with a white cloth, he tried to hold her tightly, but he couldn't hold her no matter what. He lost all his strength and couldn't get up. Kneeling on the spot, Song Jian died, and he lived in a daze. The moment he pulled her back felt like an eternity. Seeing that she hadn't fallen into the water, Chin Henian took a sharp breath and trembled all over. 17. Fortunately, the pool wasn't deep, but for someone who died in the water in the previous life, I was terrified no matter how deep or shallow it was. A hint of darkness flashed in Chin Henian's eyes, and his expression was extremely cold. Gu Mian gently explained, biting her lips, looking frightened, and said, Henian, Jian didn't mean it. I crossed my arms and watched her, waiting to see how she would argue. Seeing that she couldn't pull me into the water, she tried to slander me. Gu Mian, there are surveillance cameras everywhere here. Lu Yuyu called the police for me at this time. With my sufficient evidence, Gu Mian would surely be punished as she deserved. Chin Henian may be blind and not distinguish right from wrong, but the surveillance cameras are high definition. Chin Henian's face suddenly changed, and he looked at me helplessly. Jian, soon. The police arrived, Gu Mian was arrested, and she argued, Song Jiayin, you framed me. She cried pitifully to Qin Henian, Henian, save me. Gu Mian originally wanted to drug Qin Henian. Originally, she planned to have a relationship with Qin Henian and then frame me for drugging him. The glass of wine that she was supposed to drink was accidentally drunk by me. Gu Mian laughed and then cried, she said. Everyone knows you're in love with Qin Henian, even if you were drugged. Others would just think you're shameless and willing to ruin your own reputation to marry him. Qin Henian's expression was unpleasant, and he growled, you're so vicious. After learning about everything, Qin Henian was completely stunned. 18. Qin Henian had a dream last night. In the dream, when they were drugged, he had a relationship with Song Jiayin and was forced to marry her. After marriage, he treated her very badly. Song Jiayin and Gu Mian fell into the water together, but he saved Gu Mian. In the dream, they were married for 10 years, and Song Jiayin drowned. After hearing the police's statement, he understood everything. Song Jiayin had been reborn, so, Song Jiayin really didn't love him anymore. That's why she didn't hesitate to cut her wrist when they were locked in the same room. She loved beauty the most, but in order to stay awake, she almost scratched her own face. It can be seen how desperate she was. 19. Qin Henian suddenly hugged me, and I pushed him away forcefully. The corners of his eyes were moist with tears. Jiayin, I'm sorry. I saw the guilt and heartache in his eyes. Qin Henian, we're both victims. There's no question of who's sorry to whom. A hot teardrop landed on my hand. He lowered his eyes, with endless desolation in his eyes. That's not what I meant. Jiayin, did you know it all along? That's why on the day we were locked in a room, you didn't hesitate to hurt yourself to prove your innocence. You were reborn, right? I was taken aback. I didn't expect him to know. I nodded. That's right, he said. I dreamed about it. The person who has been my pen pal is you, and the one who saved my grandmother is also you. Gu Mian took your place. The dream was so real that it scared me, but I never thought that this actually happened. I was wrong. Jiayin, I love you. Hearing his apology and confession, my heart was no longer stirred. Qin Henian, I can swim. I didn't make a sound when I fell into the water because I lost the will to live. I was diagnosed with severe mental illness that day. You held a grand birthday party for Gu Mian, and I had already become the laughingstock of the whole city. Just thinking that I just liked you but sacrificed my whole life makes me feel suffocated, and I feel that life is not worth living. I liked you, but I'm not so morally corrupt as to drug you to get what I want. I, Song Jiayin, have always been open and aboveboard in pursuing you. If you hadn't accepted the ring that my parents gave for my future husband, I wouldn't have misunderstood that you had some romantic feelings for me too. After marrying you, I never had a good day. No one believed me. No matter how much I explained, it was useless. The whole world believed that I was interfering in your relationship with Gu Mian. So, when I went back to that day before anything happened, I was extremely grateful and wanted to cry with joy. I will never want to marry you in this life. He lost his strength and knelt on the ground. His eyes gradually turned red, looking at me. There was regret and guilt in his eyes. He broke down and cried out loud in the crowded place. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? I said slowly, with a sneer. You can issue a statement telling everyone that it was you, Qin Henian, and Gu Mian who jointly drugged me, and that you had improper thoughts about me. Do you dare? Once such a statement is issued, the stock of the Qin family will plummet, and he, Qin Henian, will become an object of universal condemnation. I want him to taste all the bitterness I endured in my previous life. Qin Henian nodded desperately and begged on his knees. I'm willing. Please don't leave me. Okay. I shook off his hand. 20. The person who almost violated me 10 years ago was found. It was Gu Mian's younger brother. The reason why Gu Mian came to my home to work part-time was also because of her guilt, but unexpectedly, she encouraged me to make pen pals, and then she herself fell in love with my pen pal, Qin Henian. Out of selfishness, she deliberately made me pursue Qin Henian vigorously, hoping that he would dislike me. My parents immediately flew back to the country. They hugged me and cried guiltily. I didn't want to make them sad. Gu Mian and her younger brother, Gui, were sent to prison. Gui had still committed many evil deeds during these 10 years. With a series of crimes, he was sentenced to 20 years. Both siblings provided proof of hereditary mental illness. Gu Mian thought she could get away with it. Through the iron bars of the prison window, a strange smile appeared on her lips. I also looked at her and smiled faintly. They were sent to a mental hospital and received special care. Qin Henian felt guilty towards me. He asked someone to give Gumian and Gui special attention. Compared to prison, this place was even more terrifying. They were mentally tortured. They were not allowed to sleep for 7 days and 7 nights. Once they closed their eyes, they would be splashed with water. They were so sleepy but couldn't sleep, and they were tortured until they lost their minds. Gumian shouted loudly, "I'm not sick, let me out." There was no trace of pity in Chin Henian's eyes, only fierceness. A mental patient never admits that they're sick. Gui let out a loud roar. The sound was tragic. 21. Jian, this is not love. He was criticized by everyone. The people in the circle who originally sneered at me now looked at Chin Henian with prejudice. Amidst the rumors and gossip, Chin Henian finally understood the pain and despair I felt in my previous life when I clearly didn't do something but was accused of doing it. 22. Not long after, Chin Henian was diagnosed with an illness. He was tormented by illness and guilt. On the phone, he begged me to see him. My tone was cold. "I don't like you. I feel sick when I see you." His voice was weak and hoarse. "Will you marry that boy?" I smiled and said, "Little uncle, at your age, don't even think about chasing after a young girl. There are so many young and handsome guys. Why would I like someone like you?" Chin Henian's tone was tinged with crying. "Jian, please don't call me that. I'm not your little uncle. I was wrong." Before getting an answer, he spat out blood. He didn't know that I had already broken up, but I'm not going to tell him because my relationship has nothing to do with him. Leaving him with regret and pain is the most torturous. 23. After hearing Song Jian's words, Chin Henian's heart ached so much that it went numb. Just thinking that she would be with someone else made him feel so suffocated that he couldn't breathe. Thinking about the 10-year-long torment she endured, crying day after day,